Welcome back. Today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1943 United States 1 penny coin. This isn't just any coin. It's a symbol of a critical period in the nation's story, a tangible piece of history that captures the spirit and struggles of an entire generation. The 1943 penny is extraordinary because of how and why it was made, and it continues to captivate collectors and history enthusiasts alike. To truly appreciate the significance of the 1943 penny, we need to understand the context in which it was created. The world was in the midst of World War II, a time when the United States, like many other countries, was redirecting its resources to support the war effort. Copper, the metal traditionally used to make pennies, was in short supply. It was urgently needed for ammunition, wiring, and other military applications. To meet these demands, the U.S. Mint made a bold decision to make pennies out of steel instead of copper for the year 1943. This switch was not just a simple change of materials, it was a statement of sacrifice and adaptation. The 1943 steel penny became a symbol of the home front during the war, an everyday item reflecting the extraordinary times. Unlike the warm, golden color of copper pennies, these were silver gray, made from steel coated with a thin layer of zinc to prevent rust. Yet, despite this coating, many of these pennies have developed rust spots over the decades, telling their own stories of time and wear. The 1943 steel penny stands apart visually from all other pennies. Its shiny, metallic surface gave it a distinct look, and its feel was noticeably different in the hand. The steel gave the coin a lighter weight and a different sound when dropped, all of which added to its uniqueness. And this distinctiveness made the coin immediately recognizable, a stark reminder of a nation at war. Interestingly, the steel penny was only minted for that single year, 1943. This brief production run, combined with the material shift, has made these coins highly sought after by collectors worldwide. While millions were produced, surviving specimens in excellent condition are rare, especially given the rust issues and wear over time. On the coin's obverse, the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln appears, the same iconic image introduced in 1909 to celebrate the centennial of his birth. Above Lincoln's head, the words "In God We Trust" resonate with the faith and resolve of the American people during wartime. To the left, the word liberty stands boldly, reminding us of the core value that shaped the nation. And the year 1943 is stamped clearly at the bottom, anchoring the coin firmly to that historical moment. The reverse side of the coin carries the traditional wheat ears design, symbolizing prosperity and growth. This design had been in use since the penny's inception and would continue for several more years. The simplicity of the design, combined with the unusual metal, created a striking juxtaposition, a classic image rendered in an unconventional material. One of the most fascinating stories about the 1943 penny involves a few extremely rare errors. Pennies struck in copper instead of steel. These copper pennies from 1943 were accidental and are among the rarest and most valuable coins in American numismatics. Because copper was reserved for war production, copper pennies were not officially minted in 1943, making these accidental copper pennies almost mythical in status. Collectors prize them highly, and when one surfaces, it can fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. Holding a 1943 steel penny is like holding a piece of American resilience and ingenuity. It represents a time when the country adapted swiftly to unprecedented circumstances. Every scratch, every spot of rust on the coin tells a story of endurance. Its very existence is a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry the weight of history. In terms of market value, the 1943 steel penny's worth varies widely depending on condition. Circulated pennies, showing the typical wear and tear, may sell for a few dollars. But pennies in pristine, uncirculated condition can command prices ranging from hundreds to even thousands of dollars. Factors such as mint marks, for example, the D for Denver or S for San Francisco, also affect a coin's rarity and value. Collectors not only see this coin as a financial investment, but also as a cherished artifact. It offers a tangible connection to the past, a way to engage with history beyond books and photos. For many, owning a 1943 penny is like owning a small piece of the wartime spirit that helped shape modern America. The coin story does not end with its production. Over time, it has appeared in countless collections, museums, and auctions. It has inspired books, documentaries, and conversations among historians and numismatists. The steel penny continues to capture imaginations because it represents more than just currency. It embodies a moment of sacrifice, innovation, and national unity. Taking care of a 1943 penny is crucial for preserving its value. Because of the steel core, these pennies are prone to rust if exposed to moisture. Collectors often store them in protective holders and controlled environments to keep them safe. Proper care can mean the difference between a coin that deteriorates and one that remains a shining example of history. Looking back, the 1943 steel penny was more than a temporary fix to a metal shortage. It was a powerful symbol of a nation's resilience and resourcefulness in the face of adversity. The decision to use steel showed that even everyday objects could adapt and support a greater cause. If you ever have the chance to see or hold a 1943 penny, take a moment to appreciate what it represents. You are touching a piece of history shaped by the hardships and determination of a generation. The 1943 penny is a reminder that sometimes the most ordinary things can tell the most extraordinary stories. This coin teaches us about change, about how societies respond to crisis, and about the value of preserving memories. It connects us to the sacrifices of the past and inspires us to look at our own times with courage and adaptability. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone newly discovering the world of coins, the 1943 steel penny stands out as a must-have. Its unique metal composition, historical background, and rarity make it a standout piece in any collection. It also challenges us to think about the stories behind everyday objects and to find history in places we might otherwise overlook. The steel penny is a testament to the fact that even small changes can have big significance. So as you imagine this coin, visualize the wartime factories buzzing with activity, the soldiers overseas, and the families on the home front making sacrifices. The 1943 penny connects all of these threads into a single, shining token of perseverance. In the end, the 1943 steel penny is a timeless reminder that history is everywhere, even in the coins jingling in our pockets. It invites us to explore
the 2009 United States 1-cent coins. At first glance, they might look like ordinary pennies, something you'd find lying around in your car's Q folder, hidden under your couch cushions, or jingling in your pocket. But let me tell you something, these coins are anything but ordinary. They are a piece of living history, a tribute to one of America's greatest leaders, and a set of tiny treasures with stories richer than you'd ever imagined. The year 2009 wasn't just another ordinary year for American currency. It marked a monumental milestone, the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Yes, 200 years since the birth of the man known as the Great Emancipator, the president who led the country through its civil war and forever changed the course of American history. To honor this iconic figure, the U.S. Mint released a special series of 4 unique designs on the reverse of the 1-cent coin, each representing a different chapter in Lincoln's extraordinary life. Now, here's where it gets fascinating. These 4 designs weren't just artistic expressions, they were educational, historical, and symbolic. Each one told a story from Lincoln's humble beginnings in a tiny Kentucky log cabin to his formative years in Indiana, his professional life in Illinois, and finally, his presidency in Washington, D.C. Imagine holding a piece of metal in your hand and being able to trace the journey of one of the world's most influential leaders through it. That's what these coins offer. Let's talk about the designs. The first coin in the series, known as the Birth and Early Childhood in Kentucky design, shows a simple log cabin. Nothing fancy, no elaborate decorations, just a modest wooden structure, representing the kind of humble beginnings that shaped young Lincoln's character. This tiny penny captures a massive story about resilience, poverty, and the power of self-belief. Moving on to the second design, titled Formative Years in Indiana, we see a young Abraham Lincoln sitting on a log, book in one hand, tools in the other. It symbolizes his thirst for knowledge, his self-education, and his dual life as a laborer and a learner. How many coins out there actually show a person reading a book? Not many, I assure you. This one's unique. The third design, professional. Life in Illinois features Lincoln standing tall before the Illinois state capitol. This was the period when he earned his reputation as a skilled lawyer and a rising politician. It reminds us that success often comes from years of dedication, debate, and determination, and this tiny copper piece tells that story. Finally, the fourth design, presidency in Washington, D.C., depicts a partially completed U.S. Capitol dome at first glance. You might wonder why the dome isn't finished. Well, here's a little-known fact. During the Civil War, construction of the dome continued even as the nation was tearing itself apart. Lincoln insisted that it be completed as a symbol of the Union's strength and determination. So, in this 1-cent piece, you're not just seeing a building, you're seeing a philosophy now. Let's move to the geography of these coins. Where were they minted? The 2009 Lincoln cents were struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint's output can be identified by a tiny letter near the date. No mint mark for Philadelphia, AD for Denver, and an S for San Francisco. The S mint marks are proof coins, specially made for collectors with a mirror-like finish, and these are especially prized today. Let's dive deeper into their mintage numbers, because that's where the real treasure lies for collectors. Philadelphia and Denver produced hundreds of millions of these coins, but the proof versions from San Francisco were minted in much smaller quantities, making them far rarer and more valuable, especially in pristine condition. And here's a tip. Coins with full, sharp details and unblemished surfaces can fetch impressive prices on the market. But value in numismatics isn't just about mintage numbers, it's also about errors, and the 2009 Lincoln cents have their fair share. Some coins were struck with doubled dies, where certain parts of the design appear doubled. These errors are highly sought after by collectors and can dramatically increase a coin's value. Imagine finding one in your spare change, a little piece of flawed perfection worth dozens or even hundreds of dollars. Speaking of value, what are these coins worth today? Well, while a regular circulated 2009 penny might still be worth a cent or two, high-grade uncirculated or proof coins can fetch several dollars apiece, and those with errors, they can reach into the hundreds depending on rarity and demand. In 2024, for example, a perfect condition proof 70 DCAM, that's deep cameo minus 2009 cent, set sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. So don't overlook these tiny copper discs. They might just surprise you. But beyond their monetary value lies their historical and cultural worth. These coins serve as tiny, tangible links to America's past. They tell a story of a man who rose from poverty to the presidency, who valued education, who fought for unity, and who left an indelible mark on history. Every time you hold one, you're connecting with that story, with those ideals, and with the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. Now, let's talk about an interesting little detail many people miss: the composition. These 2009 cents are made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, just like other modern U.S. pennies since 1982. However, their designs make them stand out dramatically. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest things in life, often overlooked, hold the greatest stories. And you know what else makes them fascinating? The fact that these were one-year-only designs. In 2010, the U.S. Mint moved on to a new reverse design, known as the Union Shield, marking the end of this special 4-coin series. This exclusivity makes the 2009 pennies highly collectible because it was a one-time tribute, never repeated. Did you know collectors have built entire collections around just these 4 designs? Some specialize in assembling complete sets of Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco issues, including proofs and error coins. These sets can become valuable heirlooms and historical keepsakes for future generations. It gets even better. Coin clubs, school history programs, and national parks even used these coins for educational projects. They became a tool for teaching kids about Abraham Lincoln, American history, and even coin collecting basics. In a way, they weren't just currency, they were storytellers. Imagine the countless hands these coins passed through, the pockets they jingled in, the cash registers they rested in. And today, even as digital payments rise, these little coins continue to capture hearts and imaginations. That's the magic of coin collecting. It's not just about metal and minting. It's about stories, people, and history preserved in the palm of your hand. So the next time you come across a 2009 United States 1-cent coin, take a closer look. Check the reverse design. Is it the log cabin, the young reader, the state capitol, the Capitol dome? Look for that tiny mint mark, and you might just find yourself holding a piece of history. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever stumbled upon one of these fascinating 2009 pennies in your change? Maybe you've got a favorite design or a coin collecting story of your own. Drop it in the comments, because every coin has a story, and every collector deserves to share theirs. And if you enjoyed this dive into numismatic history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future adventures into the world of rare, valuable, and legendary coins. Thanks for joining me on this numismatic treasure hunt, and until next time, happy collecting.
Welcome back today, friend. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of a tiny coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but holds a surprisingly rich history. Yes, I'm talking about the 1982 United States 1 dime coin. Now you might be wondering, what could be so special about a small 10-cent coin from the early 80s? Well, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll see this humble little dime in a whole new light. Let's start with the basics. The 1982 U.S. dime is part of a long-running series that features the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. His face has graced the front of the dime since 1946, shortly after his death in 1945, as a tribute to his leadership and his role in founding the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio. The obverse side of the coin shows Roosevelt's left-facing profile, while the reverse features a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch for strength and independence. It's a classic American design, elegant and meaningful in its simplicity. Now, geographically speaking, the 1982 dime was struck at multiple mints across the United States, most notably the Philadelphia Mint, marked with a P, and the Denver Mint, marked with a D. But here's where things get interesting. In 1982, something unusual happened. The U.S. Mint produced a number of dimes without a mint mark. That's right, completely missing the tiny P or D that tells you where the coin was made. These no-mint mark dimes were supposed to be produced only at the Philadelphia Mint, and they accidentally left off the mint mark on some of them. This mistake turned what should have been an ordinary dime into a prized collectible, and you won't believe how valuable this little error made the coin. A 1982 no-P dime in uncirculated or near-perfect condition can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars today, depending on its quality and grade. Imagine finding one of these in your pocket change, a coin worth more than $100 hiding in plain sight. But even beyond the error, the 1982 dime is an important piece of American coinage history. It came at a time when the United States was transitioning its coin compositions. By the early 80s, precious metals like silver were long gone from regular dimes, replaced by a copper-nickel clad composition. This makes the 1982 dime part of that modern clad era, but still old enough now to spark nostalgia for collectors. Another fun fact, 1982 was a year of economic struggle and high inflation in the U.S. While a dime might not have bought you much back then, finding a rare one today could certainly brighten your week. It's one of those coins that reminds us how something small and simple can carry stories of history, economics, and even mistakes that became treasures. If you're a collector, or even someone new to the hobby, it's always worth checking your loose change for those tiny details. Who knows? Maybe you've been holding onto a valuable 1982 no-P dime without even realizing it. Look closely next time you come across a dime from this year. Is the mint mark missing? If so, you might just have a little treasure in your hand. So what's the takeaway here? The 1982 United States 1 dime may be a tiny coin, but it's big on history and potential value. Its classic Roosevelt design, its place in the shifting landscape of U.S. coinage, and that legendary no-mint mark error all combine to make it a fascinating piece for any collector's album. Have you ever found a rare or valuable coin in your pocket change? Maybe an old silver coin, a misprint, or one with a unique feature. Share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your discoveries. And if you enjoyed this dive into the world of rare and interesting coins, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the next video for more coin collecting secrets and surprises. Who knew a little dime could hold so much history? Next up, coin, I've brought you a story that's not just about a coin. It's about a hidden treasure that might be sitting in your house right now, silently carrying stories of time you never even imagined. Think about it for a second. What if one small, forgotten coin lying in your old drawer has a story worth more than money? Yes, I'm talking about the legendary 1989 $quarter coin. This is a coin that, because of its history, its value, its unique features, and the mysterious error surrounding it, has become a favorite among collectors around the world. And today, we're going to dive deep into its rich, emotional history, its surprising value, the places it traveled, and those rare, heart-racing moments when people discovered errors on these coins worth thousands. So stick with me till the end, because who knows, you might just realize you've had a tiny fortune hiding in your own pocket change all along. Let's begin with a bit of history, not just dates and mints, but the feeling of a nation at the end of a decade. The 1989 quarter dollar was part of everyday life in the United States, minted in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. On the obverse, the dignified portrait of George Washington reminds us of leadership and resilience. And on the reverse, the proud American bald eagle clutches arrows in its talons, a symbol of the nation's strength and unyielding spirit. For many, this wasn't just a coin. It was a small piece of America you could hold in your hand, a tiny witness to millions of personal stories. A soldier buying a drink before leaving home, a mother buying candy for a child, a young boy playing his favorite arcade game. Now, those mint marks and mintage numbers aren't just cold figures. They represent the hands this coin passed through, the cities it saw, the memories it holds. In 1989, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 512 million quarters, while the Denver Mint produced over 896 million. But the rarest, the most special, were the proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. Pristine, flawless, shining like tiny mirrors, made just for collectors and bearing a graceful mint mark. And those little mint marks, a tiny P, a D, or an S, have silently turned ordinary coins into priceless treasures. It's proof that sometimes it's the smallest details in life that hold the biggest surprises. And when we talk about value, it's not just about money. It's about the thrill of finding something rare, the heartbeat skipping excitement when you realize you're holding history between your fingers. A regular 1989 quarter today is still worth 25 cents. But if you have one in pristine, uncirculated condition, or better yet, one with a rare mint error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Some of these rare error coins have fetched thousands of dollars at auction. Imagine the joy of someone, maybe like you, discovering that a simple coin they carried in their pocket for years was actually a hidden gem. And here's something beautiful to think about, where this coin has traveled. From New York to Los Angeles, from small-town diners to arcade halls, these quarters bought countless cups of coffee, movie tickets, and childhood memories. Think of a father giving this quarter to his daughter for a gumball, a teenager dropping it into a jukebox to hear his favorite song, or a grandma saving it in a jar for a rainy day. Every coin, every scratch, every faded edge has a human story behind it. And somewhere out there, your 1989 quarter might have witnessed someone's first date, last goodbye, or a lifetime memory. And speaking of memories, remember 1989? It was the era of Michael Jackson's Moonwalk, Madonna's hits blaring from every radio, the rise of hip-hop culture, the Star Wars craze, and blockbuster movies filling theaters. And through it all, these very quarters passed from hand to hand, carrying the touch of those unforgettable days. Isn't it incredible to think that the same coin a kid used to play Pac-Man in a neon-lit arcade could now be worth a fortune in a collector's showcase? It's not just currency, it's nostalgia you can hold. Now, let's talk about the part that makes every collector's heart race: the errors. Yes, those accidental masterpieces. There have been rare cases where 1989 quarters were mistakenly struck on Canadian quarter planchets, a tiny factory mistake that turned a simple coin into a priceless rarity. Imagine holding one, feeling it's a little off in weight, hearing it sound different when dropped on a table. In that moment, you realize you're not just holding a coin, but a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And it's not just about money. It's about belonging to a story, to a community of collectors who chase these tiny treasures, who gather at coin shows, trade stories, and relive the thrill of their best finds. A world where old glass jars, forgotten piggy banks, and dusty attic boxes hide secrets waiting to be found. A world where you, yes, you, could stumble upon a coin that changes your day or maybe your life. So I ask you now, when was the last time you really looked at the coins in your house? Pick them up, check the dates, feel their weight, listen to their sound. Because sometimes life hides its most beautiful surprises in the ordinary. That old coin in your drawer might be a silent witness to history, a lost treasure waiting for you to notice. If you felt a little spark in your heart hearing this story, then don't forget to like this video, share with your friends, and comment below. Tell me the oldest or most interesting coin you've ever found. And be sure to hit that subscribe button, because next time, I'll be revealing another ordinary-looking coin that secretly holds a fortune, and I promise you won't want to miss it. Because who knows, sometimes it's the small things that tell the biggest stories.